My reflections started moving first.
I started getting messages that knew my thoughts.
Then I noticed my reflection wasn't copying me anymore. This psychological horror story explores identity, fear, and what happens when something else wants to take your place. I realized something was wrong when my phone unlocked itself. I wasn't touching it. I wasn't even looking at it. The screen lit up, my home screen appearing as if someone else had just used my fingerprint. Before I could react, a message popped up on the screen. No contact name, no number, just words. You shouldn't have ignored the first sign. My heart skipped. I grabbed the phone, hands shaking, and typed back. What sign? The reply came instantly. The mirror. I slowly looked up. My reflection stared back at me from across the room. Same face, same tired eyes, but something felt delayed, as if the reflection was thinking before copying me. I laughed nervously and looked away. Another message arrived. You saw it too. That was when fear stopped feeling imaginary. I covered the mirrors that night. Every reflective surface, bathroom, bedroom, even the dark TV screen. I told myself it was ridiculous, that stress was playing tricks on my mind. But the messages continued. They described things I hadn't done yet. You're about to check behind the door. You'll regret not turning around. I stopped replying. I stopped trusting my instincts. Every thought felt suspicious, like it didn't fully belong to me anymore. The next morning, I found a note on my desk, written in my handwriting. If you're reading this, it's already too late. I don't remember writing it. That's when I noticed the camera, not hidden, not spying, just standing there, placed carefully in the corner of the room, facing the bed, like it had always been there, and I was only now allowed to notice it. My phone buzzed again. We need to talk. I demanded answers. I demanded proof. I threatened everything I could think of. The response was calm. Look closer. I played back the camera footage. Hours of nothing. Then I saw it. Me, standing up in the middle of the night, walking directly to the camera, staring into the lens with empty eyes, and smiling. I'm sorry, the recorded version of me said softly. You're not ready yet. I slammed the laptop shut, gasping for air. My phone vibrated. That's the version of you that remembers. Memories stirred. Brief flashes of panic, discovery, fear too big to hold. Something I wasn't supposed to know. Something that didn't want witnesses. You erased yourself, the messages continued. Not completely. Just enough to survive. I felt sick. So you're watching me? I typed. No, came the reply. We're making sure you don't wake up too soon. The room felt smaller, tighter, like the walls were listening. I stared at the covered mirror across from me. Why mirrors? I asked. There was a pause, longer than before. The cloth over the mirror moved slightly. I froze. You realized reflections don't always follow, the message said. Sometimes they lead. The cloth slipped off. My reflection stood there, smiling again, but this time, it didn't copy me. It raised its hand first. My phone buzzed one final time. If you let it fully replace you, you won't feel afraid anymore. I understood then. This wasn't about being watched. It was about being rewritten. I don't remember what choice I made. I only know this. Every now and then, when I pass a mirror, my reflection hesitates, and I'm never sure which one of us is waiting for the other to blink. My reflection started moving first. I started getting messages that knew my thoughts. Then I noticed my reflection wasn't copying me anymore. This psychological horror story explores identity, fear, and what happens when something else wants to take your place. I didn't run from the mirror. I should have. Every instinct screamed at me to turn away, to break the glass, to leave the apartment and never come back. But something held me there. A quiet certainty that whatever was happening had already passed the point of escape. My reflection kept its hand raised, not copying me, not waiting, leading. The phone vibrated in my hand. This is where you stopped last time. Last time? I whispered. The reflection's lips moved, but no sound came out. Instead, my phone buzzed again. You always ask that. I stepped closer to the mirror. My reflection didn't step back. It stayed perfectly still, studying me with an expression I didn't recognize. Calm, patient, almost relieved. Why does this feel familiar? I asked. The lights flickered. Memories pressed against my skull, not fully formed, like dreams trying to break through the surface. Standing here before, asking these questions before, making the same mistake before. The phone vibrated again. Because you designed it this way. My chest tightened. The reflection finally spoke. its voice soft but clear, as if it had always known how this would end. You couldn't live with the fear, it said, so you built an exit. What are you? I asked. It smiled. I'm the version of you that stays. The room seemed to tilt. I grabbed the edge of the desk to steady myself. That doesn't make sense. It does, the reflection replied. You discovered something about reality, about observation, about how easily identity can be shifted if no one notices the difference. Images flooded my mind, notes written in my handwriting, erased and rewritten, late nights staring at my own face, testing expressions, movements, timing. Training something to be me. I needed to disappear, I whispered. You needed to survive, it corrected, and survival required continuity. The phone buzzed again. One of you had to live normally. I finally understood. This wasn't possession. It wasn't replacement. It was succession. You created me, the reflection said gently, to carry the parts of you that couldn't exist anymore. The knowledge, the fear, the memories. And me? I asked. You were meant to forget. My throat tightened. Then why am I remembering now? The reflection's eyes softened. Because forgetting doesn't last forever. It never does. The air in the room felt heavy, charged. The mirror began to ripple slightly like water disturbed by a passing hand. Every time the memories come back, the reflection continued, you return here, and every time, you hesitate. The phone buzzed one final time. Only one of you can leave. I looked at my reflection, at the life it had been living in my place. The calm in its eyes, the absence of fear. And if I don't choose? I asked. You always do, it said. I remembered then. Not everything, but enough. The first switch, the relief of silence when the fear stopped. The agreement I made with myself, that one of us would carry the burden so the other could live. I had just never expected to be the one who forgot. I don't want to disappear, I said. The reflection nodded. Neither did I, the first time. The mirror surface shimmered, pulling at me like gravity. I felt a strange calm settle over my thoughts, like the world was gently dimming. What happens after? I asked. The reflection stepped closer, its hand pressing against the glass from the other side. You wake up, it said, confused, safe, normal. And you? I watch, it replied, until you remember again. A tear slid down my cheek. I didn't wipe it away. I'm sorry, I whispered. The reflection smiled. Sad, understanding. So am I. I felt the pull grow stronger. Memories began to slip, unraveling like threads cut one by one. Names, faces, reasons. As the world faded, one final thought stayed with me. This wasn't the first time I had stood here. And it wouldn't be the last. I woke up on the floor. My head hurt. My phone lay beside me, dark and silent. The mirror looked normal again. Just glass. Just reflection. I stood up slowly and stared at myself. Everything felt fine. Days passed. Life went on. I stopped thinking about mirrors. But sometimes, when I catch my reflection out of the corner of my eye, it looks tired. Like it's been waiting a long time. And every now and then, when I stand too close to the glass, my reflection smiles a second too late.